it be okay if you could state your name and how old you are?
Certainly. I'm Eileen Ridgely and I am 80 years old.
I've been informed that you have a couple of interesting and unique World War II stories. Would it be okay if you would elaborate on one of them?
Certainly. In January 1943, I'd come out of school at lunchtime because we went home to lunch in my young days, and on the way I stopped just to buy a birthday card. I was 9 at the time, between 9 and 10 anyway. Suddenly this plane came over me and he was so low that I looked up, and at the first I thought it was one of the new American bombers. And I was standing there fascinated when suddenly this face looked over the cockpit down at me. Awful face, seemed to me at the time. And suddenly I heard a rattling sound. And when I looked, there were these bullets at the side of the pavement, actually in the road.
Right.
And I presumed that they'd bounced and come across the curb, and I thought, well, an American plane wouldn't be doing that to me very quickly, if I might tell you. And I started to run for it. And the plane disappeared, but by then the siren was going. So I ran like mad for the nearest shelter, which fortunately was only yards away. Unfortunately, though, that was locked up because of the goings-on when it was unlocked. So I disappeared and sheltered myself in the library door, which was opposite this shelter. Well, it was quite an effort to understand what that pilot had been doing. But apparently, before this happened to me, he had dropped bombs on a school in Catford, and he'd killed, I think, about 36 children and 6 teachers. And then he'd come from Catford to New Cross and bombed an actual house that held 5 children and the mother. One of the girls I knew very well because she was in my class. And after leaving me, I think he must have gone and killed another child running home from school. We then lost track of him. He must have gone down to the river, which ran through Deptford and Greenwich, to get on his path home. But the total damage he must have done was awful. And it was announced later on that it was just one of these planes making hit and run.
Right.
Fortunately, my mother came and rescued me after a little while.
Do you remember the model of aircraft?
Focke-Wulf.
Right.
And the bombs he was dropping, especially the one on Catford school, was a 500 kilo bomb.
Right.
It did quite a deal of damage, as well as the destruction of those young lives.
So the when the shots actually hit the road and the pavement, that must have been...
It was very frightening, I'll tell you. I mean, that is what made me run like mad. I don't think I've ever run since as quickly as I did that day.
Yeah.
But
Wow.
it's always stayed in my mind as a bit of a near escape.
That's
Yes.
incredible. Well, thank you very much for telling that story. That's fascinating.
You're very welcome.
Thank you very much.